Let me show you some magic. Okay, so we have a variable x which is equal to 7. Okay, and we also have a function which is getName. Got it? So this getName does nothing but just console logs the name of the course, Namaste JavaScript. Got it? So this is it. Now what we'll do is we'll just try to invoke this function. We invoke this function and we did a console log of x. What do you expect to see here? Now quickly tell me. So you would definitely expect to see that, okay, getName will call this method and will print this on console, and this will print 7. Okay, console log will print 7 on the console, right? So let us run this code. Yup. So as expected, so it was Namaste JavaScript and 7. But now I'll show you something interesting, and it's some magic in JavaScript. Okay, so for that, let us just copy these two, like the function invocation. Let's just cut and paste those two lines really on the top of our program. Okay, so we have pasted these two on the top of the program. Now, before I run this code, let me ask you something. What do you expect to see here? Okay, what will be the output here? So right now, what changed is we are trying to access getName even before we have initialized it. We are trying to access x even before we have put some value in it, right? So what do you expect to see here? In most of the programming languages, okay, this will result out to be error. Okay, this will be a complete error, and you cannot access variables even like before you have initialized it, right? But JavaScript is very different in this case, and here I'll show you some magic. Okay, so if I try to run this code, now you see something interesting, isn't it? So you see Namaste JavaScript is printed. Okay, that means getName was somehow able to access this getName and invoke the function directly, right? And in case of console log x, we got some special value undefined. What is this undefined? It's weird, right? Let us try to play with it more. Suppose I remove this line completely. Okay, suppose I remove this where x is equals to 7, right? Now what do you expect to see? So let us just run the code. Now we see an error. It says x is not defined. Before it was undefined, now it says not defined. What the heck is going on? Isn't undefined and not defined same thing? No, it's not. Let's cover everything, but let me just get back that statement again. Okay, so this all magic and this all interesting thing is known as hoisting in JavaScript. Okay, so hoisting is a phenomenon in JavaScript by which you can access these variables and functions even before you have initialized it or you have put some value in it. You can access it without any error. Okay, so wherever where x is there in the program, it does not matter, and you can just access it anywhere in the program. So let me show you one more interesting thing. Okay, so for that, let us just comment these out and let us try to console log our getName function. What happens if I remember, see, we are not invoking this function, we are just trying to log this getName method. So what do we expect to see in console? So it actually prints the function itself, isn't it? So it prints the function itself. But what if we try to access this even before initializing this function, just like we did for x? Remember, for x we got undefined. What will we get for getName? What should we get? Undefined. Let us run and see. So see, if I run it once again, it again gives us the function. So in case of x, it was giving us undefined, but in case of, let us just run this. In case of x, it is giving us undefined when we didn't initialize, but in case of getName, it is printing that function. This is very weird thing in JavaScript, and it is only weird because we don't know how things work behind the scenes. Let us go deep and see how everything happened and why the program is behaving the way it is behaving. Okay. Remember in the last video we studied that whenever we run a JavaScript program, an execution context is created, and it is created in two phases. The first phase is the memory creation phase. So yes, so the answer lies there only. This whole concept lies there only. Okay, if you have seen my previous video, you might have got an idea also that why these things are happening. But let me tell you again by running each and every line of this code now. Okay. For that, let us just quickly go back to the previous state of the code, like how it was, and then I'll show you something really very interesting. Okay, so remember I told you that even when this whole code in JavaScript starts executing, the memory is allocated to each and every variable and function. I repeat once again, even before the code starts executing, memory is allocated to this all variables and functions. Remember in the last video I told you, see, if you have not seen that video, I would highly recommend see that video. That is really very important video. It is in fact the most important video in this whole series. But for now, let us see that how this memory is allocated. So for that, let us go deep inside the browser. Okay, so when we go to this source, okay, we can see this whole program, right? So even before I am putting a debugger, okay, even before first line is executed, okay, I am putting a debugger right here, okay. Let us see how this whole program behaves. So now see, it got stopped in this line itself. So now no code has been executed till now. We are just at the starting point of the first line, okay, starting point of the first line of our code. And now let's see something really very interesting. This is our memory, okay, this is the global scope and here is the memory. We will see something really very interesting if we dig down deep. Okay, if we go over here and try to find x, we will find that x has already been allocated memory space even before we have started executing. Okay, so if in the last video I told that in the phase 1 of the memory creation, JavaScript just skims through the program and it will allocate memory to each and every variable and function, isn't it? And it stores a special keyword undefined for these variables. Okay, so even before this code has executed, JavaScript has reserved this memory for x and placed a special placeholder undefined to it, right? We can see that undefined is present over here, right? And similarly, what happens in case of functions? Right, you are right, that whole code is put in. So let us also see whether the code is put in or not. So if we try to find out get name over here, yes, so see, in get name we did not get undefined, but we get a actual copy of a function here. Okay, actual copy of a function even before we are trying to run this code. So now what happens if we just run this program, then all these things are printed on the console. But let us see that phenomena if we put on the top, right? So let us just put these three things on the top and I'll show you how this works, right? So again, let us put a debugger on the first line itself, and remember, even before this first line, that is the invocation of getName is executed, we will already have, okay, let me run it again, we will already have these variables and functions in the memory space, right? This x, what will the value of x be? This x will be undefined and this getName will be the function. See, so you see that is why, that is the main reason when you try to execute it line by line. See, if I go to the next line, if I move to the next line, now if you see the console, you already have these things printed. So over here in the first line, it printed Namaste JavaScript, and in the second line over here console log x, it printed undefined, and in the third line it printed the whole function code itself, right? So now just let me tell you difference between not defined and undefined. Okay, so if I remove this whole line, okay, so now what will happen? Try to see how JavaScript works. So as soon as it goes to the first line, okay, so let me put a debugger again. Okay, so as soon as it goes to the first line, now we have not reserved the memory for x, we just have reserved memory for getName, right? So in this case, when the code goes over here, so it tries to access x, and this x is not present because we have removed that, right? So now x is not present and there is no value for x. So that means now JavaScript will throw an error and it will say that reference X is not defined. That means X was not present in the memory. So that means X is nowhere initialized in the program and you are trying to access the value of X. Okay, so that is how JavaScript works, and that is why it behaves the way it behaves. It was interesting, isn't it? So let us just see one more important thing. Okay, let us see one more interesting thing. Suppose instead of this we have getName as the arrow function. Okay, suppose we had getName as the arrow function. Okay, so this is how we write the arrow function, right? So now what do you expect to see in the browser console? Give a guess. Let me just run it and show it to you. It says that getName is not a function, right? So let us try to see why it says that. So when you are executing this piece of code, when the getName is an arrow function, so it behaves just like another variable. Okay, now this getName does not behave like a function, but it behaves like a variable. So what it will do is, even before we execute this whole code, so now when in the memory allocation phase of the execution context, it will allocate, just like it allocates undefined to X, it also allocates undefined to the getName. Okay, so let us see in the global space now, global memory space. Here, if we see and try to find out getName, see, we got undefined. So before, if when we wrote over here function like this, like function getName, let me show you here once. Function getName 2. Okay, so if we use something like this, okay, so it reserves, let me save and run for you. So it will put getName 2. See, the getName2 will be the function itself if you write it in this syntax, and if you write it as an arrow function, it will be undefined. Make sense now? This time getName behaves just like another variable. Okay, and there is one more interesting part. So there is one more way to declare a function. Wait, I'll show you. So you can also create a function like this, where getName is equals to using this syntax. Okay, so what happens in this case? So in this case also, if you save and run and see, it behaves just like a variable. Okay, so it behaves just like a variable. So if you see the space now, so see, getName2 is undefined again, and getName is also undefined. So in this case and in this case, it just behaves like another variable, and it will allocate the memory with a placeholder undefined. Okay, and only in case of proper function declarations like this, getName, it will copy the whole code. Okay, so in this case, if you run again and see, if you run again and just refresh the page and try to see, so while reserving the memory for getName, see, it gets you the whole function. So this is how it works, and you can even access these variables and method even before it is actually initialized in your code. So that is all about hoisting. Okay, so next time in the interview, if somebody, the interviewer, asks you that what is hoisting, so don't just say that JavaScript kind of moves that code to the top of the file and whatnot. So that is not the case. The proper answer lies here. Okay, you have to explain this thing. This shows that you know JavaScript in depth. Okay, the execution context creation phase properly. That there lies the answer. Okay, but now when we are already there in code, let me show you something really very important. Just give me 2 more minutes. Okay, I'll just finish it very quickly. It is very nice concept. So remember, I covered the theory of call stack in the last video. Now I'll show you the demo. We actually are in code, so it will be easy for me. Okay, just wait for 2 minutes. Okay, so let me just tweak the code a little. Let's just get back to where we were. Okay, so over here, so let me show you that how that execution context and call stack works, right? I'll show you the demo. Before, in the previous video, I showed you the theory portion, right? This is interesting part. So let me just do it quickly. Oh my god, Namaste JavaScript. So I'll properly show you that how code is executing. Okay, so let me just put a debugger on the first line again. So remember in the last video I told you that whenever JavaScript code is run, what happens? A global execution context is created, right? So let us see how does that global execution context look like. So let us run the code. So I have put a debugger over here. So the global execution context must have created somewhere, right? So yes, the global execution context was created and it has put in this call stack. So see this anonymous written, right? This is the global execution context and the control is on the line number 3 of index.js right now here. There it is. Now I'll tell you something more important. Remember, as we move ahead in the code, I have put a debugger over here. So as soon as we run this function, as soon as we invoke this getName function, what happens? Remember from the last video, a brand new execution context is created and what happens? That execution context is pushed inside the call stack. Remember I told you? So let us put a debugger and check that also. Now it will go to this function and go inside the function, right? I have put a debugger over here. So let's just run it. So see, now the control went to line number 5. Okay, so now see something really very interesting happened, right? So execution context of getName was created and it was pushed onto the call stack. So this is the call stack. Remember, this is the global execution context which is lying in the bottom of the call stack. Okay, and on top of it, right now we are at line number 5. I have put a debugger over here. So here lies the control of the program in the getName in line number 5. Okay, this is the interesting part. So now what happens once you finish executing this function? Remember what I told you? Now that execution context will be deleted and it will be popped off the stack, right? So if I put a debugger over here and the control will move to line number 9. So now if I'll run, so what will happen is whoosh, the execution context will be deleted and it will be removed from the call stack. So let us run and see. See, now it vanished, right? So now the control again went on to line number 9, okay, of this anonymous, which is the global execution context. So that is how the whole small this call stack works. I wanted to show you the demo because I covered the theory in the last video, but demo was not covered, right? So and once we finish executing everything in the program, see, the call stack is empty now. So this is what I was trying to explain a lot in the theory in the last video. That was really very important video. If you have not seen that, definitely I would suggest you to see that. And this was the demo of that whole thing. So this is how everything is working behind the scenes inside the JavaScript engine, and JavaScript manages all this using the call stack, execution context and all this fun stuff. And it is created in creation phase and then the code execution phase, thread of execution, all these fancy things are happening inside this browser itself. Interesting, isn't it? So that's all in this video. In the next video, we'll be covering the heart of JavaScript, which is the functions. I'll be talking a lot more about the functions because functions are very important piece in JavaScript itself. They are very different than other programming languages. But before moving on to that video, you have to do two things. First is to like this video. It gives me a huge motivation. And second is to comment down whether you're feeling excited or not. How was the video? Comment it down. I would love to read your answers. See you in the next video and thank you for watching Namaste JavaScript.